Did T.I. just shatter every rumor, every friendship, and every illusion in a single, explosive moment? After weeks of remaining silent, the rapper who built an empire on loyalty, family, and trust finally spoke. And the words he chose ignited the internet like wildfire. In a shocking outburst caught live on camera, T.I. looked straight into the lens and declared, "I never loved Shekinah." The room fell silent, but online, chaos erupted instantly. Clips of the emotional outburst were shared across every platform: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, spreading like a digital inferno, leaving fans and followers in disbelief. The moment was raw, unfiltered, and seemingly unscripted, and it left everyone asking the same question. Was this a confession, a denial, or a calculated attempt to salvage what remained of his public image? What made this moment so compelling wasn't just the statement itself. It was the storm behind it, years in the making. A storm fueled by betrayal, jealousy, and secrets that no one outside his inner circle fully understood. The friendship between T.I. and Shekinah, which had once appeared steadfast, suddenly felt fragile, perhaps even a lie. Fans called it the breaking point, the moment when T.I. finally snapped. Others feared it marked the beginning of something even darker, a deliberate effort to rewrite history before someone else revealed the truth. But one thing was indisputable. This was not a simple celebrity meltdown. This was the spark that could unravel everything T.I. had built over decades, from his music empire to his public persona. The way T.I. spoke that night was intense. His voice cracked as he slammed his hands on the table, his face contorted with anger, frustration, and exhaustion. Cameras flashed, microphones leaned closer, and in that single charged moment, he broke the silence that had been haunting him for weeks. The words, "I never loved Shekinah," echoed through the studio and ricocheted across social media almost immediately. Fans were shocked, some interpreting it as a confessional moment, others calling it the ultimate betrayal. Meanwhile, the rumor mill had been relentless. For weeks, whispers of a secret daughter, a crumbling marriage, and an alleged affair with Shekinah had dominated every gossip feed. T.I.'s once polished image, a symbol of power and loyalty, now stood on precarious ground. Headlines twisted his every move. Video clips painted him as a villain. And after days of silence, he finally exploded. Not to clarify, not to apologize, but seemingly to set the record straight. Though what followed wasn't what anyone expected. People who witnessed the outburst said it seemed completely spontaneous. There was no PR filter, no carefully written script, no prepared statement, just raw emotion. A man cornered, exhausted, and under immense pressure, revealing the weight of his own choices in real time. Some interpreted it as guilt. Others believed it was rage, the kind that comes when someone you trusted has betrayed you. And the truth is, this wasn't just about Shekinah. It was about loyalty, secrecy, and the slow disintegration of a circle of friends that had been tight-knit for years. Beneath the glitz and glamour, the cracks were widening, and the outburst brought them all to the surface. The response online was instantaneous. Even a 30-second clip sent shockwaves across platforms. TikTok users remixed the footage, looping the phrase, "I never loved Shekinah," over dramatic music. Fan accounts dissected every second, claiming to detect fear in his eyes or subtle hints of smug satisfaction behind the anger. The internet split into two camps almost immediately. Those defending T.I., arguing he was simply being human, and those convinced he had revealed his true self, the side that had remained hidden all along. Shekinah, by contrast, stayed silent. No statements, no posts, nothing. Her team was reportedly in crisis mode, debating whether to respond or simply weather the storm. But in the world of celebrity scandal, silence is its own kind of confession. Every hour of quiet only intensified speculation. Hashtags like Shekinah Nanu, T.I. lied, and Justice for Tiny trended relentlessly, while fans combed through old interviews, cryptic social media captions, and even archived live streams, desperate for any clue that might reveal whether T.I.'s statement was true or just a shocking misdirection. Tiny, T.I.'s wife, meanwhile vanished from the public eye. Insiders revealed she had not left her home for days, avoiding calls even from family members. Friends said she was devastated, not just about the ongoing scandal, but by T.I.'s latest declaration. One close friend shared that Tiny had broken down after seeing the clip, whispering through tears, "He's not even trying to protect anyone anymore." For years, she had stood by him through allegations, rumors, and countless public battles. But this time, it felt different. This wasn't about damage control. This was outright destruction.
As the hours passed, the narrative grew and took on a life of its own. Former friends started speaking out, hinting that the fallout between T.I. and Shekinah was far from sudden. Some even suggested that their rift had little to do with romance rumors and everything to do with money, loyalty, and betrayal within their inner circle. Old photos resurfaced, showing them laughing together at events, standing too close, looking too comfortable. Every smile, every glance became evidence. Every social media post was dissected as a potential clue. Then came the leaks. Screenshots, voice notes, half-baked proof, and cryptic messages surfaced, fueling the fire even more. Some claimed to be from Shekinah to a close friend, warning him about T.I.'s possible confessions. Others appeared to show messages meant to prevent secrets from getting out before things turned messy. Authentic or not, the internet didn't care. The narrative was already set. T.I. versus Shekinah. The king versus the confidant. The truth against betrayal. In just 24 hours, the story became global. News outlets debated whether T.I.'s words were a calculated distraction or the unraveling of a man under pressure. Commentators described him as unraveling in real time. Fans begged Tiny to speak, hoping for clarity, a confirmation, or a denial. And still, the key question lingered. Why now? Why, after weeks of silence, did T.I. finally explode? Some speculated he had discovered another recording, one that allegedly proved more than just emotional betrayal. Others believed it was something deeply personal, a text, confrontation, or revelation that hit too close to home. Whatever the trigger, the result was the same: an unfiltered, raw confession that shattered every rumor the scandal had ever generated. The clip amassed over 10 million views within days, with reactions ranging from career suicide to the most real moment T.I. had ever displayed. In an era dominated by scripted apologies and media-trained responses, his emotional eruption felt terrifyingly human, messy, angry, and real. Truth or performance? No one could say, but the impact was undeniable, and the city buzzed with whispers long after the initial clip circulated. Studio lights dimmed, phones rang endlessly, and somewhere in a quiet house, T.I. watched the chaos unfold across every screen. His words echoed again and again. "I never loved Shekinah." Some called it a lie, others liberation. But to everyone watching, it was the sound of a man who had lost control. The fallout was instantaneous. Within hours, gossip blogs and commentary channels dissected every frame. Reaction videos piled up, claiming to expose hidden meanings behind every gesture, glance, and tone of voice. Some slowed footage to highlight trembling hands, insisting it was guilt. Others focused on the anger in his voice, arguing it was proof he had grown tired of being painted as the villain. The public couldn't decide whether they were witnessing a man defending himself or destroying everything he had worked for. Then, late one night, an anonymous account posted a grainy 15-second clip. A voice resembling T.I.'s muttered, "She knew what we were doing." The words were muffled, the video dim, but that was all the internet needed. Hashtags exploded once more. Some claimed it was deepfake manipulation designed to destroy him. Others insisted it was authentic. Either way, the narrative had shifted. Now the conversation wasn't just about his outburst. It was about what he might be hiding. Shekinah's silence grew heavier by the hour. Rumors swirled that she might be preparing her own live broadcast. A post briefly appeared on her Instagram story, a black screen with the words, "Enough is enough," and vanished within minutes, leaving fans desperate for answers. Speculation ran wild. Was she being silenced, threatened, or preparing a bombshell? One entertainment blog even claimed she possessed proof that could end T.I.'s career. Whether true or false, it kept everyone glued to their screens. Meanwhile, Tiny remained absent from public view. Paparazzi captured her at an airport, reportedly leaving town with her children to find some peace. The photos went viral immediately. Fans expressed sympathy and heartbreak. "She deserves better," one wrote. "She stood by him through everything, and this is how it ends." Others accused her of playing the victim, claiming she knew more than she let on. In the age of social media, no one remains innocent for long. Then came another leak, alleged text messages between Shekinah and someone labeled T.I., emotional, cryptic, referencing a promise and a secret that couldn't be revealed. Whether real or fabricated, the leaks reignited the drama. Some said they proved a long-standing relationship. Others dismissed it as AI-generated bait. Regardless, the story had evolved beyond the question of truth. It was now a spectacle, a real-time narrative unfolding in public view.
Industry insiders began quietly distancing themselves. Business partners canceled deals, networks withdrew potential projects, and music executives avoided phone calls. The same industry that once praised T.I.'s work now treated his name like a liability. At one point, a blogger claimed inside access to T.I.'s camp and promised a tell-all episode exposing the leak's origin. Fans waited with bated breath. When the episode aired, it revealed little more than theories and unverified screenshots, leaving audiences hucked and desperate for a villain. By the week's end, exhaustion set in. T.I.'s silence grew heavier, Shekinah's absence felt ominous, Tiny's distance was painful to witness. What began as a rumor had become a full-blown digital storm, consuming everyone in its path. Private sources described the emotional toll. Trust, love, and friendship, everything scorched beyond repair. However, it all started with loyalty. In the years when T.I. and Tiny were trying to rebuild their public image, mending fences after a whirlwind of messy headlines and cheating rumors, Shekinah was the friend who never wavered. She was loud, funny, and fearless, and she defended Tiny like a sister. Every time the internet came for Tiny, Shekinah was right there, standing her ground, often facing criticism and backlash for speaking her mind. In a world filled with PR stunts, fake smiles, and carefully curated public images, their friendship felt genuine, raw, and real. People loved watching them interact because the bond seemed unbreakable. Their laughs felt authentic. Their loyalty to one another seemed unshakable. And at first, no one doubted the sincerity of that connection. To the outside world, Shekinah was a steadfast ally, someone who would always show up. And that loyalty earned her admiration, not just from fans, but from the people closest to Tiny and T.I. But underneath the surface, tension was quietly brewing. T.I. never seemed entirely comfortable with Shekinah's energy. He would make casual jokes about her being too loud or too much of a distraction. But beneath the humor was a subtle irritation. There was something about her confidence, her unflinching honesty, that rubbed him the wrong way. Shekinah didn't bow down to him like so many others did. She wasn't intimidated by his fame, his wealth, or even his temper. She spoke her mind, unfiltered. And in T.I.'s world, honesty could either be a sign of respect or the spark that ignites a war. In the beginning, the trio's dynamic was playful and harmonious. They laughed together, filmed together, traveled together, and presented a bond that seemed unbreakable. But as time passed, subtle cracks began to appear. The jokes that once seemed harmless started to carry a sharper edge. The smiles on camera didn't reach T.I.'s eyes, and fans began to notice it, whispering that he seemed uncomfortable around her, almost irritated. What appeared lighthearted on the surface masked a complex and growing tension behind the scenes, a tension that Tiny, for all her closeness to both of them, did not see coming.
The real shift began when Shekinah started to gain recognition on her own. She was no longer just Tiny's right-hand woman. She became her own person, with her own voice, her own social media following, and her own platform. T.I., a man accustomed to control in nearly every aspect of his life, found this independence threatening. His irritation with her grew as he watched someone so close to his wife develop influence and autonomy. The whispers began. Some said T.I. saw her as a threat, not romantically, but emotionally. She had power over Tiny's feelings and opinions, and T.I. feared that one wrong word, one slip of loyalty, could unravel everything he had built around his public persona and private life. Shekinah's confidence, her ability to stand on her own, and her refusal to bend to anyone's will, qualities that made her admirable to fans, were qualities that unsettled T.I. And so, a quiet storm was brewing, one that would soon reach its breaking point. Then came the event that would change everything. The argument nobody would ever forget. Tiny and Shekinah, once inseparable, had a falling out. The cause was murky at first. Some said it was jealousy, others whispered betrayal, but insiders suggested it stemmed from something Shekinah revealed, something so personal, so cutting, that it struck a nerve in Tiny and pushed T.I. over the edge. Whatever the secret was, it was the catalyst that ended years of friendship in a single night. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Shekinah, hurt and confused, took to social media to share her pain, crying and asking her followers why Tiny had turned on her. Fans rallied around her, offering support as she processed the shock and heartbreak. T.I. remained silent, a silence that felt cold, calculated, and filled with resentment. Behind closed doors, he was furious, feeling exposed and perhaps even guilty, though he didn't understand it himself yet.
When T.I. finally spoke, he did so in a way that would shock the world. During a podcast, when asked about Shekinah, he did not brush it off or offer vague platitudes. Instead, his response was explosive. With a voice tight with anger, he declared, "I never loved Shekinah. Stop connecting me to her." The clip went viral almost instantly, and Atlanta erupted in discussion. People couldn't believe what they were hearing. Was T.I. setting the record straight, or was this the reaction of a man lashing out, trying to mask deeper feelings of shame and guilt? The public reaction was instant and polarized. Some fans praised him for finally freeing himself from years of rumors. Others insisted that such raw emotion could only come from someone who once felt deeply, suggesting that there was an emotional connection T.I. refused to admit. Shekinah didn't respond immediately, but when she did, her words were devastating in their simplicity. It's always the ones you protect the most who break you the hardest. That single line sent shockwaves across social media, resonating with fans who understood the pain behind betrayal and unspoken truths. Caught in the middle, Tiny's silence spoke volumes. Friends close to her revealed she was torn apart by the conflict, never imagining things would escalate so publicly. What started as tension among friends had now erupted into a spectacle of heartbreak, leaving her stuck between her husband and her former best friend. T.I.'s anger was not merely directed at Shekinah. It was a culmination of years of stress, rumors, and public scrutiny. Shekinah's name was simply where his frustration landed, a symbol of the pressures he felt but could not fully articulate. Behind the scenes, T.I. told friends he felt betrayed, believing Shekinah had crossed boundaries by speaking too freely about his personal life. In his eyes, she was disloyal, someone who had used her proximity to fame to gain leverage or attention. But others painted a very different picture. They claimed Shekinah had been manipulated, abandoned, and deeply hurt. Her loyalty had been unwavering, but that loyalty became a double-edged sword weaponized against her in ways she could not anticipate. Reports surfaced that, though not romantic, there had been emotional moments between T.I. and Shekinah. Late-night calls, private conversations about Tiny and their shared struggles. Shekinah had been a source of comfort, a shoulder to lean on during difficult times. Somewhere along the line, those emotional boundaries blurred,
leading to speculation that T.I.'s public outburst was less about denial and more about shame and guilt. Shekinah's life fell apart in the aftermath. Losing her friendship with Tiny was painful enough, but the public humiliation at T.I.'s hands cut even deeper. Her online breakdowns weren't cries for attention, they were genuine expressions of grief, feelings of being used, discarded, and misunderstood. Fans watched as she navigated heartbreak in real time, and many rallied around her, recognizing her as the true victim of the situation. Tiny, meanwhile, remained quiet but broken, embarrassed that private issues had spilled into public chaos. She wanted to defend her husband but could not ignore the pain Shekinah felt. Daily interactions became heavier with tension, and while T.I. and Tiny attempted to maintain appearances, their smiles and chemistry were visibly forced. The damage had been done, and there was no easy way to repair it. Months passed, and rumors continued to swirl. Insiders claim that after T.I.'s outburst, he and Tiny had a major argument behind closed doors. Tiny allegedly confronted him about the tone of his denial, questioning why he sounded so emotional and why he let his anger become personal. T.I. could not answer, perhaps because he did not fully understand the complexity of his own emotions. Some suggest T.I.'s hatred toward Shekinah was less about her actions and more about how she reminded him of who he used to be. Others argue it was a moment of losing control. Regardless, his words left permanent scars, and Shekinah reportedly fell into depression, questioning herself and everything she had once held dear. The people who had called her family became her perceived enemies overnight. And yet, after all that pain, Shekinah never retaliated publicly. She could have revealed every secret, gone live, and dismantled the reputations of both T.I. and Tiny, but she chose not to. Whether out of lingering loyalty or fear, she remained silent. Her silence became a form of quiet power, demonstrating strength and restraint in a situation designed to humiliate her. Fans began to admire her resilience, noting that while T.I. looked defensive and bitter, she had taken the high road. Atlanta, as always, was obsessed. Podcasts, blogs, and social media pages dissected every possible angle. Some believed T.I. and Tiny had deeper marital issues no one knew about. Others speculated that Shekinah held secrets that could ruin reputations. While the public debated, the three individuals quietly drifted apart, each carrying their own version of the truth. T.I. doubled down publicly, insisting Shekinah was nothing more than a family friend and that his words had been misconstrued. But no matter what he said, the damage had already been done. The more he denied, the more people speculated about hidden emotional connections and the truths left unspoken.
Tiny tried to move forward with grace, but trust was gone. The friendship that had once brought her joy now reminded her of heartbreak and betrayal. Behind closed doors, she cried, not out of anger at Shekinah, but because she missed the bond they once shared. T.I., on the other hand, buried himself in music, business, and public appearances, but friends say he remained haunted. Guilt echoes in silence, and he often revisited old memories, videos, and photographs, reflecting on how everything went wrong. He would occasionally mention Shekinah's name, as if trying to make sense of the chaos. Shekinah, meanwhile, rebuilt her life, focusing on positivity, healing, and self-love. Yet even in her newfound peace, the shadow of Tiny's words lingered. Tiny probably still wondered what might have been if she had intervened sooner, if she had defended her friend before the tension reached a boiling point. But regret, as it often does, arrived too late. T.I.'s outburst revealed cracks in a world built on loyalty, fame, and control, transforming a story of friendship into one of pride, silence, and betrayal. Months later, T.I. remains silent, Tiny avoids the topic, and Shekinah protects her peace. Even as trending lists began to fade, whispers circulated of a private investigator hired to trace the leaks. Some said it was T.I. himself, others claimed an outside party was manipulating events for revenge. No one knew the truth. But the story wasn't over. The video, the messages, the betrayals, something bigger was still lurking, waiting to explode. After the leaked clips, the shocking outburst, the betrayals, and the silence, one question remains. what happens next? At this point, it isn't just about guilt or deception. It's about power, love, and revenge, and how far people will go to protect or destroy it. T.I. maintains his innocence. Shekinah refuses to stay silent any longer. Tiny remains absent, but sometimes silence speaks louder than words. This isn't just a celebrity scandal. It's a complete unraveling of trust, loyalty, and public image, live for the world to witness. Fans are choosing sides, secrets continue to surface, and the story is far from over. Insiders whisper of an even bigger revelation, a video, a confession, perhaps an interview that could once again ignite the internet. No one knows who will speak first, but when they do, chaos is guaranteed. So, what do you think? Was this all a setup, a plan gone wrong? Or is T.I. finally confronting truths he's hidden for years? Comment your thoughts below, smash that like button if you believe the story isn't finished, and subscribe so you don't miss the next explosive chapter. The internet waits, and the truth is coming.